Hey, how's everyone doing? Okay, yeah. For a second, it looked like my audio levels were way off the charts with this. So, no Corbin today. He is apparently suffering from a bit of a headache. Poor guy. Hoping he does better. Let's see. As far as music goes, same source as I've been using for the other music. I just figured, screw it, switching it up a little bit today. Though, I feel like I want to turn this down a little bit, at least on my side. Is it overwhelming me? I don't know. It almost looks like it could be. Let's see. And then it's been another slow week. It doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't feel like it. Unfortunately, I can't go into detail on that. You will all find out in the somewhere not completely distant future, but there's some big-ish news to a few people. Who knows? I may end up hinting at more on that later. Though, here's the thing. I feel like while this week technically was kind of a slow week, it also had some not slow elements to it. No. This has nothing to do with Pixel 5a. Or what? Or are you asking if there was Pixel 5a stuff or proposing? I don't know. Anyway, no, nothing to do with that kind of news. No, I haven't seen a leak. What is the leak in this instance? Though coincidentally, oh, nice, just kidding. Coincidentally, I know he didn't leak it public, but I happen to know Max leaked something today. It just not on. I don't think he leaked it to Twitter. He leaked it elsewhere, and yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Again, you guys may find out about this later. Yeah, look at me with the teases. Let's see. So, I feel like at least this, it's not the biggest news, but the leaked Surface Duo 2, if nothing else, honestly, I feel like this is kind of news just on the virtue of they're making another. You gotta hand it to Microsoft. Like, cheers to them. Legitimate cheers to them. They're coming out with a phone, or they came out with a phone that was universally panned. Everyone at best said, hey, congrats, you're trying something. We appreciate that you're trying something. We're not against you trying something. But no one should buy this. That's the best thing anyone really said about it. Pretty much everyone else was just like across the board, whoa, this sucks, just don't. And to me, I mean, believe me, I'm more in the first camp. I'm very much it looks like a fake. I mean, prototypes usually do, to be fair. But you know, I'm a big fan of the idea that companies should try things. They should experiment with stuff. Obviously, you don't want them to only do that. You want them to make like a tried and tested, definite, this is going to be a good product kind of product. Ironically, like I would argue HTC did a lot of attempted tests and never really, or stopped trying to do reliably good products. LG tried to do tests, and the rest of the time they made just outright bad products. This is why neither one of them is really around anymore. You can look at OnePlus, and sure, they've tried a few tests in the past, but OnePlus has consistently just been like, we're gonna make a product that is basically identical to what everyone else knows works, and we're just gonna try to charge less. Which, hey, not the worst idea. And Samsung occasionally does tests, but generally stays in its lane. Microsoft, hey, they're trying something. I I think, like I said, I think universally everyone panned it, but I don't think they were panning the idea of this. I think they were just saying, yeah, the one you made sucks. Don't do this. So I'm not opposed to them trying a second time, if not more. Look at the Garrett. Microsoft is contributing so much folding code to AOSP. I'm sure they are. I imagine Samsung has to be too. Like, it makes so much sense that Samsung's got to be involved in this to some extent, though. Samsung does, I get the impression they're probably going with a flexible definition of contribution. Like, I bet they're doing a lot of work with Google, but they're not necessarily having their own developers putting code into the Garrett as much. At least I've heard they don't visibly contribute as much. I fully admit I do not watch it. But yeah, so anyway, I'm not opposed to the Duo 2. We're talking about, let's see, they mentioned USB-C port, which, duh, of course. 3 camera system, so telephoto, ultra wide, and standard. I mean, to look at the back of this, honestly, this just looks like every normal phone, but it also happens to have another screen attached by a hinge. I'm not seeing a problem with this as a design. The only real issue, obviously, and everyone's brought it up, holy crap, is that camera module huge. Like, that is a honker. That thing could be used for, like, rock climbing. It is just like a massive protrusion that you could get a grip on. I don't know that that's the best choice, but hey, it's there. Part of me wonders if, like, the intent is maybe for this to fit inside of a case. I don't know. Let's see. Samsung doesn't usually contribute to AOSP unless they're opening up drivers. Okay. I thought they did a little bit more, but still not visibly like a huge amount. But hey, you know, again, I know Samsung actually works with Google directly, so they are doing stuff. Just I don't think Samsung gets the credit for it, if that makes sense. But hey, you know, I'm good with it. Let's see. What else did they mention? Or did they mention anything else? Rumors are suggesting an 888 processor, 5G support, NFC chip. Let's see. Thinner bezels. None of it's really super exciting. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I think this will be good. You know, it at least another company is getting into making Android phones, and Microsoft isn't giving up after one. Now, to be fair, I don't think they've supported the first one super well, so that's not a good path. That's where they always go wrong. Hey, Corbin, you sure you don't want to join? Anyway, so yeah, cheers to Microsoft. It may not be the most exciting phone, it really isn't, but if they'll stick to it and actually release it, and this time support it a little bit better, maybe, you know, maybe there's a future here. I want to encourage it. I'd like to see them actually make it. Oh, by the way, since Corbin's here, in case anyone missed it in the Discord, right as I said, do you want to join? Connection buffered. Nice. Oh, jeez. But, yeah, since Corbin's here, quick plug to the Tech Tales podcast. A new episode dropped today. This one is, unless I'm mistaken, the finale of our run about the road to Mac OS X. in addition to having a headache. Yeah, I mentioned the headache, but DSL not cooperating. Yeah, DSL. Nothing more needs to be said. DSL. Oh, but yeah, anyway. It's a shame. We'll get you on next week. And hey, maybe next week we'll get to talk about the recent, we'll say industry news. I've been playing it vague, but yeah, we'll maybe talk about the industry news at that point. Let's see. Oh, also, I don't remember what time of the year the original Duo dropped. I think it was October or November, something like that. So obviously Microsoft, if they do deliver, as the Verge article suggests, in September, October, I think that does stand out as oh, Austin, that is a criminal thing to say. Also, I could kind of picture that happening, but you know, you don't want it to. Actually, out of curiosity, who owns BGR? Let's see. Penske Media Corporation. Yeah, who knows? If Penske ever comes along and contacts AP, who knows what'll happen. Anyway, so yeah, obviously if Microsoft is going to release a Duo 2 in the September-October timeframe, it demonstrates that they've been working on this at least before the first Duo dropped, which raises questions about how many lessons could they have possibly incorporated from the first Duo. How improved is this? Is it going to really be a real hardware improvement? Like, did they actually fix any issues, or is it just like the refresh with higher specs kind of a device? I don't know. Anyway, I think all these are questions that obviously will get answered, but when, how, sadly, we probably won't really know until launch day. Anyway, speaking of folding stuff and the like, new Fold 3 coming. We already knew this. There's not much of a mystery here, but I do find it interesting and kind of notable that Fold 3 is going to be launching with a new S Pen. This time, obviously, it's going to be compatible with the folding screen. I'm assuming it'll be soft enough to not scratch the screen. That would be a pretty good goal. Let's see. What was the thing in this? I made a note of this earlier, and now I'm totally blanking on the part that I really wanted to highlight. I know I wanted to talk about the Note basically being no more. At least probably or possibly no more. Because this is something people have been suggesting for a long time, that the Note is basically on borrowed time. It's a product that doesn't need to exist anymore. Obviously, I think a lot of other people have agreed the Note still definitely had a place, but only in the sense that there needed to be products with the features that the Note offered, and obviously stylus support. Well, if the Fold 3 gets stylus support, which it obviously will be, and assuming it gets some of the features, which, let's see, they mentioned, I think it was mentioned in our post, was it not? Oh, okay. And quote, instead of unveiling a new Galaxy Note this time around, we will further broaden the Love Note features to more Samsung Galaxy devices, which is kind of a cute way of saying, hey, by the way, this thing that you like, we're not going to be bringing it back, but all the cool features that you liked from it, we're going to put in a different phone. So don't worry, just buy that one for like 50% more money. But hey, still you can buy that one instead. And I'm seeing this as okay. I do wonder if this actually means the Note line is dying. I kind of think it probably is a sign of that, which might be a bit of a shame because I feel like the Galaxy Fold 3 is not going to be as cheap as a Note was, and to even imply that a Note was cheap makes me feel wrong. But yeah, who knows? That may be the future of it. By the way, I did not mention this at the start of the stream. I was going to, but I will say it now. This is almost definitely going to be a short stream day because it is hot in this office. I mean, hot. Like, I actually am already sweating. So yeah, this'll definitely be on the short end. But also on that note, topics, if you have them, fire them off. I'm ready. Because yeah, we're rapid firing today. On the note of rapid firing, and I'm not going to belabor this one too much because I know there aren't a ton of developers in the crowd, but I figured, might be kind of worth bringing up since I posted this earlier. Jetpack Compose 1.0, the final stable version, has launched. Let's see, Intel is going to make Qualcomm chips. Oh yeah. That'll be, I don't know how much I actually have to say on that, but I'll once we get into it, I'll see. Anyway, the oops, let's see, I can close that. Cool, get that out of the way. So with Jetpack Compose, was it my title this time? Let's see, is this still mine? Google's vision of Android development is finally realized with Jetpack Compose 1.0. You know what? This actually is my title. I admit it is a bit baity. Fully admit it is kind of baity. Corbin, you jerk. You're proud to announce Cody is fires from AP. Corbin the editor. Future editor, folks. Anyway, so let's see. Brain fart for a second. Mostly because I want to make a joke to Corbin, but this isn't the right time. Anyway, so this actually was my title. Fully 100%. It is baity, but I think it's baity in the way that actually poses Compose in the right way. Like, it's actually framing it for what it is, which is honestly, very, very honestly, Compose is 100% about being the future of Android UI development. It supports animation. It features all of the stuff that they've been pushing for ages. It has material at its core. Pretty much everything about Compose is exactly what Google should have been trying for ages, and that's what they're delivering. Don't get me wrong, I've only briefly used it, so I don't have a lot to say about the actual experience of coding with it, but to be fair, I've also been writing with Swift UI on my Mac, and I'll tell you, from what everyone tells me, it's basically the same damn thing. All things considered, if these two are the same or very similar, yeah, this is fine. This is totally good. Who cares? So yeah, I think Compose is their future. This is what Google wants Android development to be like, and they're doing the right thing with it. I think it is a little bit, a little disappointing. It took them 2 years to get here. Like, if I'm going to say anything, because I know they've actually, like, okay, so I did not bring this up, did I? No, I didn't. So they actually were teasing. Okay, so officially Compose was announced at Google I/O 2019, but if you attended I/O 2018 and went to this one booth in the middle of one of their random tents, they actually had a booth pushing Jetpack. And at the time, Jetpack was all they were talking about. But as soon as the Jetpack developers found out where I was from and who I was, they were like, oh, okay, we got to tell you about this other thing we're working on. And they actually showed me Jetpack Compose there on the spot. Like, I was one of like 3 people in this whole tent, so everyone else was just milling, or all the other people were just milling about. This was before the public was let in. And yeah, they started showing me Jetpack Compose on the spot. So they've been working on this for 3 years, and I don't want to say like I'm disappointed that they took so long. Like, I'm not trying to say that they were slow. What I mean is I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't get to start doing this until sooner, because I think they should have been a project years ago. They like way before 2018, because they were just getting started at that time. I think they should have been started on this as early as like 2013 probably would have been about the right time frame, because Android development has been messy, super messy, and this really does a lot to bring it all together. So let's see. Austin played around with Compose. It's amazing. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's lightweight, it's clean. There are things about it that I don't necessarily love, but, and the same with Swift UI. Like, honestly, the two are so similar. There are things I don't love, but there's quite a bit. Oh, okay, Carson, I'll come back to that in a second. But oh, okay, let me hit these comments and then come back to it. So Carson, if you were to start learning Android Dev right now, should you start with Compose? I'll just immediately say almost certainly yes, because it is going to be the easiest to learn. It's probably going to be for what any developer was going to do. It's not just the easiest to learn, but it's also the thing that is almost certainly going to keep growing and expanding. And eventually it will just supplant everything else. Let's see. Austin, that's a good question. As a non-developer, I think if I were to invest in the time to learn, go with Flutter. And yeah, that would be a fair point too. Like, if you're gonna do straight Android development and, you know, presumably be building in Kotlin, you want Compose. If you're looking instead to learn Flutter for being more cross-platform oriented, not that Kotlin isn't cross-platform and Compose to a minor extent is cross-platform, but yeah, if you're thinking about going more cross-platform, Flutter's probably the way to go right now. It looks like it has a little bit more progress being a cross-platform option. And Austin mentioned the bad word Eclipse. I don't know how anyone used Eclipse. It was such a disaster of an IDE. Anyway, any Eclipse fans, don't at me, bro. Your thing sucks. Just admit it. It's okay. Everyone should admit when their thing really sucks. Anyway, So yeah, the thing with Compose, it's clearly going to be the future of Android development. It's clean, it's so much easier, it's faster to write, it's mostly easier to read. Yeah. Anyway, and I've been debating. I kind of actually want to respond to a couple of the comments, particularly the one that says that he hates defining UI code like this. I'm assuming basically mixing UI code with regular code. And all this screams to me is he probably did not learn to code until the last, like, 4 or 5 years. He does not know what it used to be like. Carson, you confess you use IntelliJ with an Eclipse color scheme. I have no opinion on the Eclipse color scheme. That's fine. You know, if you like the colors, cheers. But the problems with Eclipse, have you used Eclipse? I mean, seriously, have you actually ever installed and legitimately used Eclipse? It was so bad. Like, layout sucks. It's slow. It is dog slow. It was so irritating with some of the lack of features. And some of the features were implemented so poorly they were not reliable in any way, shape, or form. I have minor beefs with IntelliJ. Not saying that it's perfect. I think it does stand to have some improvements. But yeah, it's so much better. IntelliJ, in my mind, is basically Visual Studio, but clunkier. And not that much clunkier. It's close. You had no idea there were better alternatives until college. Yep. That's the curse of learning where you likely would learn. You know, it's kind of like I know that this isn't the best example, but so when I was first going to college, I got out of high school and I did a year at a community college so I could rack up low cost credits, all the standard credits. Anyway, my year at the community college, one of the classes I ended up taking was in Photoshop. And the teacher for this class, to put it lightly, was kind of incompetent. I mean, he could do some stuff. He wasn't completely terrible at it, but he really didn't know what he was doing. And I kid you not, within, I think, 3 or 4 weeks in this class, at a certain point, I sort of unofficially started teaching a bunch of the students. I don't think he liked that. I started helping people learn new tools and new ways they could use Photoshop. All this stuff that I'd been doing for years that I just taught myself. And he had no idea how any of this stuff worked. And there were multiple times, like, I didn't do that really annoying thing where, like, the teacher is in the middle of teaching and then you pop up and go, well, actually, you could do it this way, teach. I wasn't that guy. Wasn't far from being that guy, but I wasn't that guy. Like, if he was teaching something and he actually got stuck, I would help him. But more what I did is the few, like, closer friends I had in the class who, you know, the people you kind of end up, like, sitting next to and stuff, I would talk to them. I would show, like, I would be super far ahead. I would clear all my homework or work, like, right away. And then I would help them. And when I helped them, it's like, okay, so there's the way that he showed us, but you could also do it this way. And, like, I would just kind of show them the shortcuts and the better methods. And it didn't take more than, I'd say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of that before everyone else in class is like, wait a second. Those people are learning a whole lot from this other guy. Let's go watch. And I kid you not, there would be times that during the time that we're all working on stuff, a small crowd would just form form right behind me as I'm showing some new technique, and everyone's like, "Wait, how did you do that? Can you show me? Can you show us again? Like, we missed the first part." And so this happened a lot. Anyway, by the end of the term, I was actually everyone else got an A. I was the only person to get a B in the class because the teacher was not happy. But that's the whole thing. If you get a teacher who wants to teach you the wrong stuff, or they themselves just don't know things, and, you know, this happens all the time. It's the source of the expression, those who can't do teach. But if your teacher only knew about Eclipse, or maybe was hell-bent on, like, an obsession with Eclipse for some reason, like maybe because of its open source license, Corbin, or I don't know, any number of other reasons, it's not hard to imagine how they might have ended up deciding that they should be teaching you Eclipse or only showing you this thing or that thing. Every teacher's going to do this. You just hope that they are going to show you the good thing instead of the bad thing. Some of them are going to show you the good or best thing. And because they took the time and they discovered it, they learned it. Others are going to show you bad stuff because they just don't know. Anyway, so I said I didn't want to prattle on about this, but kind of in tangents ended up spending more time on this than I expected. Anyway, so I'm happy that they did that. Not that it is, not that it is that big of a deal, but, oh, okay. I just checked my Twitter notifications because I saw just a little right before starting the show, I discovered Tech Meme also featured my version of this post, which sometimes it like, this isn't the biggest deal, but yay. I'm happy when Tech Meme takes notice. So yay, that happened. Yeah, so let's see. What else do we have? Oh, the Intel Qualcomm thing. I know a link got posted to that. Let me pull that up real quick, because I know it was somewhere back here. And not that it matters, but just since I scrolled over it, Curvy, thank you for posting a link to that video earlier about the banned computers in California and other states, because that 100% became a topic of conversation internal at AP, because people immediately, or this morning somebody posted one of the articles that grossly misrepresented what was happening, and so I happened to post a link to that video and basically discuss hey, this actually isn't that big of a deal. It's not something to panic over. So, yeah. Anyway, cheers. That came in very handy. Man, I am scrolling. Alright, that's all the way back to a week ago, so it must not have been in that room. I swear somebody posted a link to this. Oh yeah, the accessibility thing. Okay, let's... That was weird. Okay, I'm trying... for whatever reason, one of these links did not open in Chrome the way it was supposed to. But I got it. Okay. Alright. Come on. There we go. So... Yep. Okay, that flipped over correctly. So yeah, Google threatening to. Well, we'll come back to the Intel thing. I'll search for it while I'm at it. So Google is threatening to remove apps with accessibility services from the Play Store, which, I mean, honestly, they've obviously been on this course for what, 3 years. So any developer that didn't already recognize that this was a thing that was going to happen, they'd have to have that's a problem. You're not paying attention if you did not see the writing on the wall. This has been in the works for at least 2 years, probably 3. If you were still using any API, you should have probably been nagging Google to do something about this a couple years ago. And wait, which phone? Oh, that phone woke up to it. Okay. Only one. That's not so bad. But, so, yeah. For whatever reason, XDA thought it was really important to note LastPass is unaffected, but whatever. I don't think too many people care about LastPass being affected anymore. So many of them abandoned it after they changed their latest structure to require payment. But hey, it is what it is. All right. Oh, Carson, you're right. I missed that question about the Google I/O devs. Okay. I'm going to hit the accessibility thing because honestly, there's not a ton to say here, but I will come back to it. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, let's see. But yeah, we can skip over the what are accessibility services part. What exactly is Google doing? So I'm just going to straight read it because I know what's happening, but I did not read the details that closely. The company is informing developers that if their application uses an accessibility service for any reason other than assisting users with disabilities, then they must remove the use of this permission within 30 days of their application will be removed from the Play Store. Failure to abide by this requirement can result in an infraction against the developer's Play Store account, which can eventually lead to account termination. For the few apps that do use A11Y to aid users with disabilities, Google states that these developers need to simply add a prominent user-facing disclosure of the reason behind why their app needs the permission. However, as I mentioned before, accessibility services are used for far more often in apps that would end up violating this new policy. So, again, this is so 1000% something Google has. They've literally done this already. This is sort of like the hey, if you had some last remaining thing that we didn't enforce this policy on, we're gonna hit you too. So this has been a long time coming. Again, no developer possibly didn't see this coming. Most of them have probably already been removed from the store at least once over exactly this, and then they got it reinstated as kind of like we get it, you can't do your app any other way, we'll make a temporary exception. So the developers mostly should have contacted Google long ago and said, look, we need a way to accomplish blank. It's been up to Google to add those features. Has Google added those features? I mean, let's be honest, no. Some of them I'm sure they have, others I bet they haven't. He's basically saying, yeah, you know, if you're a developer, you can't do anything about this. Well, you should have been doing something about this. That's how it works. But hey, anyway, so that being said, yeah, I mean, this is a story about a thing that honestly just sucks. It sucks because... Oh, wait. This one's... Oh, it is from 2017. Damn it. Okay. Because I know we just posted a thing on AP about this. Let's see. I mean, I'm pretty sure we did. I think so. I'm quickly skimming down. Has that post not gone up yet? Oh crap. Okay, I'm mixing up the Play Store safety listing stuff. Okay. Hey, look at that. Engadget actually gets to make an appearance. Okay. So, sorry. I totally misunderstood. I thought we were talking about this. Carson, no. Not that Engadget is better, but Google begins showing what the Play Store safety listings will look like. This is what I was thinking of, because basically it's showing, it's a disclaimer about what people are it's a disclaimer about what people are, or what data is being collected and how some functions are being used, which, okay, yes, is different. So I got that mixed up, but regardless, yeah, this is another one of the Play Store policies that I think a lot of people are resistant to, but it's also something that needed to happen, and also something, again, writing's been on the wall. So many of the things that happen with the Play Store, seriously, all of this stuff has been happening for years. They're just progressively getting a deeper crackdown. So again, I'm not really going to spend any time on this. It's not, honestly, I don't think it's that interesting. Mostly because, again, it's been happening for a long, long time. But, yeah, anyway. Okay, so let's see, the question from earlier. The Google I/O booth. They were interested because I was from press, or let's see, what was the, I swear there wasn't there two parts to that? Maybe not. Oh no, I guess not. Okay, the simple answer is okay, so first off, they knew, well, okay, to give a little bit of context, while I was at I/O, during or at some point, I was informed that, hey, members of the press are being invited to this thing where they get to basically kind of walk around and visit all of the, like, showy booths before they were open to the rest of I/O attendees. The idea for this is members of the press could basically kind of go around, figure out if there was anything special they wanted to cover, and they would get mostly uninterrupted time talking with various people and kind of getting a chance to be in the booth without it being packed. And I keep saying booth, but what I really mean is they had these large tents set up, and each tent had like a dozen booths inside. The ones that were really hardware oriented, they had a few tents that were like weird, showy stuff, like odd little experiments and side projects. Let's see, if I bring up, I bet this won't even be that hard to find, I'm pretty sure. If I go to Google I/O 2018 videos, I'm hoping a thumbnail will show me a specific thing, but maybe not. Here's a guy that looks like he would have taken pictures of a lot of weird stuff. Wow. he's really going into a lot of detail about going to I/O. That's holy crap. Okay, I'll move it over into view so you guys can see what I'm looking at. He posted a lot. Yeah, okay. This is not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's kind of close. Oh, maybe not. Okay, that's getting into the other stuff. All right. So Google I/O, they had tents like these set up for sessions. They also had round tents that were very like this, very similar to this, that were set up for kind of a show and tell of weird little projects. Anyway, one of the yeah, okay. All right, there's one. I'll go back to the only thing he actually shows that technically counted as one of these. So it's not much of a picture, but for the... Oh, this is for Waymo too. That's not even the right thing. Damn it. Okay. I wanted to find something very different from this. What would it be called? Actually, maybe if I just search for jetpack, would that show up? How about under images? Yeah, I'm probably not going to find it. Screw it. I don't care anymore. So we'll pop back to here. The music sounds like Alan Walker. I do not know that name. Also, Austin, your assessment is correct. Yeah, their posts often do get updated several times without noting the updates. Often, even with incorrect updates. I can't begin to describe how many incorrect updates, but that's another subject. Anyway, oh, which I/O year? So 2018's the last year I got to go. I didn't go to 2019, and of course there was no 2020 or 2021 I/O, not in person. But at 2018, they had a booth for Compose, or sorry, not for Compose, but for Jetpack, and that's where they started talking to me about Compose. Anyway, yeah, these were all open to press before they were open to anyone else, and it was this whole tour where they were taking us from tent to tent and just kind of giving us like 20 or 30 minutes in each tent to just kind of go around and talk to people and stuff like that. And they gave this exact same tour to content creators, YouTubers. So like, what was it? I think they were just behind us. Maybe they were just ahead of us. I forget. But they, oh, yes. Oh, thank you, C. Saldana. Carson. Whichever. Yeah, this is exactly it. So they had, yeah, this is showing a few things. There's one particular thing. Yes, this. Okay, so these were a bunch of electronic flowers that all had, I think they were proximity sensors. I could be mistaken, but it was something like that. And so anytime you moved your hand over one, it would react a certain way. They also, I think, had microphones in them, so if sounds were made, their lights would change. Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff like that. This isn't... There were several of these tents, but this was one of the more elaborate hardware-oriented ones. And so all of this stuff at the time was built with embedded Android, which... Wait, was it embedded Android? I think it was. Anyway, It's whatever thing that Google created and then killed within a year. Alright, my Pixel 4 has decided to wake up to every mention of the word Google. Okay, had to try. But yeah, so everyone got to kind of walk around. Right behind us was all of the YouTubers, and so if anyone was looking, like MKBHD was in that group, Michael Fisher was in that group. Yeah, they would just kind of wander in, and the obvious reason for this was, oh hey, thank you, Austin. I just got the notification for a tip. Many thank you, sir. And I'm suddenly just reminded, I still need to fix the freaking notifications on Streamlabs so they pop up correctly. I keep forgetting this. I am bad at these things. So yeah, anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, all the content creators were just behind us, and you could kind of tell the reason is because if those guys decided they wanted to stay like an extra 20 minutes and get a ton of footage, you know, it's not the best example of it, but like this guy had the, you know, the panning shot of stuff. All those YouTubers, I saw what half of them were doing. Like, they were walking around with their cameras and tripods and just like sitting down and like, you know, either doing talking head segments or just capturing B-roll of everything. Oh, Carson, dude, you didn't have to change in Discord. It was just reflex. I'm probably still going to call you C Saldana half the time just because. Anyway, but yeah, anyway, so I've gone on this tangent way longer than I intended to, but we got to one of the tents, and it was very developer oriented stuff. They had let's see, do they maybe have a picture of it in here? Sandbox E was VR, Android Things and Nest, Android and Play, Cloud, Firebase and Flutter, Google Assistant. Was there another one? Design and accessibility. I bet that's the one. Oh, maybe not. Was there possibly another one? And definitely not this one. Okay. Let's see. It would have been in Android and Play, Sandbox C. Yeah, when I was in that one, all the members of the press that were in this one walked in the door, they looked around at the signs, and walked straight back out the door. No joke, every single one of them got in this tent and were like, we do not care about this, we don't understand a word that they're gonna say, we're leaving. So I walk in, and like I said, all the people in the booths were just kind of milling about. They had nothing to do until it was open to the public. So yeah, I just kind of walked in and I'm browsing around. I saw the thing about app bundles, which was already old news. There wasn't anything new to talk about, and if I remember correctly, it was either the day before or later that same day. But me, Artem, and somebody else, we were actually standing there talking with a developer who worked on app bundles. And we had a very long conversation about what needed to be fixed. So if anyone ever says you don't get to talk to developers at I/O, they'd be lying. If anyone said that it's really hard to get to talk to developers at I/O, especially the ones you need to talk to, they'd be telling you the truth. This is one of the only incidents I can describe where I got to actually run into and talk to a developer who had some, or who could provide some useful context and actually answer important questions. Also, I see a freaking fly in this room. You guys might get to see action scenes. Zapper equipped. All right, anyway. So to actually answer your question from I don't know how long ago. The question of were they excited that I was press? The answer to that is maybe. It's possible that they were excited that someone from press actually was checking out their stuff. However, it is worth noting they knew who I was. Like, not just member of the press, not just like a blank, random person. One of them saw my name because, we're all wearing badges. In fact, hold on one second. You don't need to be on that screen anyway. My Google I/O 2018 badge. So anyway, they saw the badge, they looked at the name, and realized, hey, we know who this guy is. He's an actual developer. Yeah, they initially started talking to me about Compose, giving me just the general sales pitch. Or sorry, not Compose. Just Jetpack. For those who don't know, Jetpack and Jetpack Compose are technically two different things. Jetpack is basically a bunch of sort of utility classes that are there to be just really handy tools. Compose is like an actual UI framework. It's a long explanation for no apparent reason, but there's more to it than that. They didn't recognize you via the beanie. I did not wear the beanie back then. There were no beanies at that time. In fact, I almost would have gotten a sunburn on my ears at that I/O, except I was also not dumb like a lot of people at that I/O were. I will tell that story in a little bit. There's actually a very, very funny story, or I think it's funny. Anyway, and by the way, Austin, I do agree. Adventure I/O, not that I actually got to take advantage of it this year, but 100% that needs to be a thing every year. It's a good idea. It serves a purpose. Cheers. They need it. Anyway, yeah, the thing is, while I was standing there talking to them, like I said, they were giving me the sales pitch for Jetpack. They were basically just going on about how useful it was, how interesting it was, and you could tell they were just sort of going through their prepared script. And then, like I said, one of them looked down and saw the name on my badge and goes, "Oh, you're from Android Police. You write the teardowns." At which point it's like, you could see the other guy go, "Oh, yeah, okay." And yeah, like all of a sudden their sales pitch about Jetpack they dropped the sales pitch and were like, "Okay, so here's what it really does. Like, here's what we got in here. These are the tools that, it does this and this." Like they shortcut so much crap out of their pitch, which to anyone who knows to do this, if you've ever run a booth where you have to explain things to people and then the person gives you even the smallest indicator that they know what the hell you're saying, the first thing you should know to do is stop with the sales pitch. Just start talking to them, because you will convey so much more if you're just having a natural conversation. If it's a sales pitch, it's pointless. You've wasted your entire time with this person if all you do is give them the same sales pitch. Anyway, they bombed straight through this thing. Or sorry, bombed is the wrong word. I mean, it would be appropriate-ish. Not in a bad way, but I mean, like, I'll use the Canadian word for this. They mobbed right through this. Like it was maybe 2 more minutes of talking about Jetpack, and then they're like, okay, listen, we got to show you this. And they pulled up a demo of Jetpack Compose. They said they'd already been working on it for, I swear it was only like maybe 6 or 9 months at that stage. But yeah, they'd been working on Compose since like probably end of 2017 would be my guess. And at the time it really was just like a UI prototyping kind of thing. Obviously it could do more than that, but it didn't support a lot of stuff. I mean, a whole lot of stuff was not supported. And they were showing me, here's how we can now write the entire navigation experience. Here's how we can create kind of the linkages and everything else. In point of fact, it was, yeah, that's one of the guys right there, the one in the blue shirt. And that screen behind him is what they had from the original pitch. They went on to show me more stuff about this. They had Compose actually partially functional at that stage. So yeah, that was the thing. I don't know if I still have it, but they gave me like some Jetpack stickers and a few other odd. Oh, whoops, you're right. There we go. There were 2 guys at this booth when I was there. He was one of them, the dude in blue shirt. So yeah. Anyway, they were showing it off back then, and it was clearly like going to be a neat thing, but it was so fresh at that stage that it wasn't something that I could share. And I'm not sure if they were allowed to tell me about it yet. I don't think they cared, honestly. But yeah, I don't think they were... Even if they were allowed to tell me, I think it probably would have been frowned upon, just because there wasn't anything to share. There wasn't anything to show off. Not in a meaningful way. Funny enough, I also ran into another person at one of these booths. I have to try to remember his name. Oh, this is gonna suck because it's been long enough I don't quite remember. Let's see. He was at one point he was one of the top people involved in Wear OS. Back when it would have just been known as Google Wear. And he did a lot of developer advocacy stuff. Or, well, developer relations would probably be the more accurate way to put it. Oh, it is going to bug me because I am going to have the hardest time remembering this guy's name. I covered a lot of stuff that he did. Yes, Android Wear. Whoops. Oh, damn. This is going to bother me. I'm quickly skimming. I don't think he was technically the lead on this, but he was the face of it anytime there was like public discussions about developing for Wear. Oh my god, this is gonna piss me off. Anyway, it doesn't matter that much, but there was one of the tents. Actually, maybe if I skim over this, I'll see his picture pop up. Anyway, he was stuck in one of the tents and clearly did not want to be there himself. And he was just kind of, he too was also just milling about. And whatever tent it was, I walked in, I kind of looked around, and it's like, all right, none of this stuff's for me. It'd be nice if it was, but it's not. Nope, no picture of him. That sucks. But I'm just kind of standing there waiting for our group to be moved to the next tent. And while I'm standing there, he spots me and he sees that I've got a camera hanging around my neck or in my bag or something like that. And while I'm just standing there, he asked me about the camera, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm carrying around this. And he says, oh well, I've got a Sony camera too. And we start talking cameras for, I would say, probably close to 30 minutes. Just random. Is he the same dude that covered the Android stuff at this year's I.O.? I doubt it. Do you have a link to the video he was in or something like that? No, it's not Dennis Trooper. Or Troper, sorry. This would be... Oh, where the hell would I find this guy? So much of his stuff used to get posted on Google+, but that obviously isn't a thing anymore. In fact, I know how I would even find him if I could look at stuff on Google+, but that's not really an option now, is it? Oh, it's gonna piss me off. I can't remember this guy's name now. Anyway, so while I'm in this tent, I didn't recognize him because you see someone's face and it looks so different than the pictures that have been taken of them. Anyway, as I'm hanging out in this tent talking to this guy about cameras, we're just like, all we did for 30 minutes was talk about, well, probably the first 5 minutes were just sort of random pleasantries. And then for about 20 minutes, we talked about cameras. And then he goes, so you work at Android Police? And I'm like, yep. You know, I'm not thinking that there's anything particularly that interesting about this part of the conversation, but you know, it's like, yeah, I work at Android Police. And he starts telling me how, you know, how he loves the teardowns, how this has been one of his, not Samir, not Timothy. I don't know Samir. Oh yeah, okay, I remember Samir. I've never talked to him. I've seen him do presentations, but I've never talked to him. Timothy Jordan I have talked to, but not a lot. Yeah, this guy wasn't quite this high up. Not that he wouldn't have been a like VP, or I doubt he would have been considered a managing director. He was always, I would say, more like a probably product manager, or again, like developer relations. I know he did a lot of developer relations stuff, even though he was actually building the products. So he was kind of like Chet Haas, where he's working in kind of both roles all the time. And he's hopped products a few times. This is gonna drive me crazy. Wait, why did I just get... Hold on a second. I think I just got pinged for something. Wow, Slack. Open slower. Holy crap, Slack. What is happening here? Okay. Alright, quickly scrolling down, seeing if there's anything here that's relevant to me. Okay. They're asking for something, but I don't have the time to focus on this. Well, wait. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry, this doesn't make for super interesting stuff. Let's just say when a bunch of tech bloggers get confronted with trying to say things about programming stuff, they get confused easily. It becomes awkward. Okay. So fun fact, you got to see the good version of the title for this post. It's going away. They're retitling it because it's not performing well enough. All right. Anyway, that sucks. Yeah, they're about to make it ultra boring. Okay, sorry, I am gonna type a quick response. Oh, actually, yeah, they're retitling my post. Okay. I'm gonna kind of name drop in the cringiest of ways. But I'm totally gonna point them to anyway. Yeah, so a sneaky way to sort of drop that a sort of a sneaky way of dropping the fact that Tech Meme thought that my post was worth pointing out or highlighting. That way maybe they'll just leave it alone or something. Anyway, all right. Carson, I mean, doesn't most of the dev-related stuff usually do relatively low views? It absolutely does. Yes. Honestly, I'm pretty convinced that we only really do the occasional developer-related post, only because there are times when people, or it kind of maintains that air of credibility. It's a little bit of a representative, like, hey, this thing, it is important and we should acknowledge it. And it kind of highlights that maybe people would care about this. Or rather that we care about this stuff and we are paying attention to it. But yeah, as far as profitability, yeah, developer posts they pull nothing. Honestly, they used to do a lot better. But you know, when there came a point where someone came along and basically looked at which posts made the most money, and it consistently came back to developer posts weren't making a lot of money. So it was pretty clear. The logic came down to, we need to do them because it makes us look credible, but we need to not do very many of them because we could make more money if we just post other stuff instead. So yeah, developer posts are more of a break-even kind of a thing, and this is where we get to. As a result, most of the developers came along, saw this. Developers realize when you're not really catering to them or serving them, they can see through it and they just move on. It happens all the time, and I don't blame them. I would do it too. So I understand where everyone comes from in this, but it's not hard to imagine why developer posts do shitty numbers when, unsurprisingly, developers are a smaller audience. And if you already have a, medium-sized audience, to say the best, if you have a medium-sized audience and then you're going to write stuff that only really serves a very small percentage of that audience, yeah, you're going to lose the rest. The irony is that is entirely the opposite of what this guy at Google I/O said. He actually described my teardown posts and APK update posts as being how he learned about a lot of the other stuff going on at Google. He was following my stuff because I was one of the few people that was digging in and finding newly launched features. Not even necessarily about the teardowns, but I was highlighting, hey, if you use Keep, or if you use Google Home, or anything else, like I was the one who was digging out a lot of the stuff that actually had gone live. And within Google, most of these people don't actually know. They don't hear about it. They don't get the details of what new things are happening. So yeah, they're as reliant on news outlets as almost everybody else. At least most of them are. They don't get a whole lot of inside knowledge on this stuff unless they're actually part of the testing or development track. Proof that teams don't communicate, I wouldn't say that. Teams that need to communicate, okay. The teams don't communicate. That part's true. Some of them do, some of them don't. There are absolutely some teams that communicate really, really well. There are other teams that not even a little bit. I would not consider this proof that the teams don't communicate. This is sort of like, let's say you worked in... this is going to be such a crappy... Oh, you know what? Never mind. I have a good example. Let's say you work at Microsoft. You work in Xbox division. Let's say your job is messaging in Xbox. Would you expect to know that Microsoft Office, Excel specifically, would you expect to know that Excel got a new formula editor? Straight up. These are two completely separate parts of the company. They do not have any relationship to each other. They just happen to have the same owner. That's not really, it's not a thing. It's totally understandable that these two are so separate that they're just never going to hear from each other. And it's not about bad communication. It's just they have no reason to know what each other is doing. They're not that connected. So, if I'm posting about a new feature in Keep, should someone who's working on Android Wear know about this feature? I mean, maybe, because there was at the time still a Keep app for Wear, but would anyone necessarily know that? Nah, not really. And I really wish I could remember that guy's name. It is driving me a little crazy. I can't think of it, but yeah, anyway, I totally get where he was coming from. The thing that kills me, I did not realize who it was that I was talking to. I talked to this guy for at least a good half hour. I had no clue who he was until later that night when I was talking to some other people and saying, hey, I was talking with this guy and he brought up a couple of neat things. He had a neat compliment for me. Yeah, and as I'm describing this, I was talking with Ron, and I was describing, I was saying it kind of looked like the guy maybe had, he had been burned a little bit on one side of his face many years ago. It didn't look bad or anything, but you could tell that something had happened to his skin. And as I'm describing it, he goes, wait, are you talking about, and then he drops this guy's name and it's like, no way. I mean, I've seen that guy's picture 1,000 times. There's no way that's who it is. And then we pull up a video and it's like, holy crap. I've just been talking with this guy this whole time, and I didn't ask him a damn question that I would have wanted to ask him. Not that I would have bugged him to answer a whole bunch of stuff. I absolutely would have let him just kind of chill with that, but oh my god, I felt dumb. It was a terrible missed opportunity. Oh my god, it is just killing me. I can't think of his name. Skinny, fairly soft-spoken guy. He did a ton of YouTube videos over the years. Wonder if I actually have a bit of an idea. If I open up the Android Developers YouTube channel, well, we were mostly just talking about, again, camera stuff for a long time. He had somewhat recently bought a Sony A7, I think A7R2. That pretty sure, or A7R maybe. No, it would have been an R2 at that time, I think. Let's see. All right. If I found him this quickly, that would be amazing. Nope, that is not him. Oh, side note, I have also run into Ian Lake. Not the person I'm talking about in this protracted story, but I've run into Ian Lake and had a similarly awkward experience talking with him and not having any clue who he was at the time. Because again, people do not look like their pictures. It's understandable. It's not a problem, but holy crap, you get to know someone by their picture, their like social media pictures, and just have it in real life, they look nothing alike. I'd like to think that if someone ran into me, they would probably at this stage recognize me. Though you never know. As a side note, I know at least a few people did, because at a few of these IOs, I've had people come up to me like just out of the blue and like, hey, can we get a selfie? Which it is, I think, the only place in the world, or only event in the world, where I would have random people I've never met or talked to before coming up and being like, hey, can we get a selfie? I was actually talking about this in the press area. Not like talking. It wasn't like a, oh my god, hey, guess what? All these people came up asking for, it wasn't like that. But I went out of the press area to go like look at, I think I was going to a session or something. Anyway, I got back not like late, but I got back later than anyone thought I would. And Ryan Whitwam was asking like, dude, you were gone a really long time. Like, what happened? And it's, I'm like, no big deal. There were a few people came up and asked for selfies and had a bunch of questions. And he's like, wait, what? No one has ever asked me for a selfie. Like, no one's ever come up and asked to take their picture with me. And I kind of looked at him, and my immediate answer was, I mean, when's the last time that you left the press area? He just looked at me like, why would I do that? And it was kind of one of those, well, dude, no wonder no one's ever asked you for pictures. No one's ever seen you. If you don't like run into people, they're never going to have opportunity to ask you to take a picture with them. Also, to be fair, I'm not trying to flex, but honestly, you know, the teardown thing I think does draw more of a fan thing than or it draws attention. It's more unique than what Ryan ever did. Ryan did average news posts. 100 other people do news posts, so it didn't have that unique factor to it. Which, hey, like, nothing wrong with that. It's a thing. Man, I'm scrolling through all these YouTube videos, looking at the people in them, and still not spotting my guy. I probably need to go all the way back to 3 years. Let's just fling scroll back to 3 years. I'm sure he will come up in videos more readily as we get further back. Yeah, we're getting to the one with the weird hair, who was in a ton of videos back then. Carson, was it mainly Googlers or other attendees asking for selfies? Attendees. Yeah, 100% attendees. I ran into Googlers who knew who I was. All of the ones I ran into who were working IO were really cool, really friendly. They were very, like, they knew that, not all of them knew who I was, but the ones who knew who I was, they were all super friendly with me. They wanted to talk to me and chat, like, not super long because they were working and busy, but yeah, you know, they were all like, oh dude, super cool to meet you, like, you know, we've talked about you a dozen times, you know, awesome to have you around, glad you're here. Like, that was the typical response that I got. Believe me, there are other circles in which there are Googlers who don't like me. It happens. You can understand. I have been responsible for a couple of these guys losing their weekends. I get it. And to them, I have sympathy. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, there were instances where that's gonna happen. Let's see. How have I not found this guy's face yet? I know I've got to be coming up close on finding him because he is. I'm back into the 4 years ago videos. Though the Android developer channel has certainly removed videos. Over the years, like they go through and I swear they swab away a whole bunch of the videos that they just decide are outdated, not necessarily representative of the thing anymore, which is good. I mean, I like that they do that, but I'd almost rather they just change the title to say, yeah, this isn't really a thing anymore. And just leave it up because it could still be interesting for research purposes or looking stuff up. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Ian Lake videos. Man, I remember I've watched so many of these and covered so much of this stuff. It's I think this is him. Hold on. This is him. Wayne Piekarski. Wayne Piekarski. That's who it is. My God, that adventure does. That has been the adventure. Okay, let me pull up. Yeah, we'll pull up his Twitter profile. Yep. Okay, linking it in chat. This is the guy. Developer advocate at Google, now working on Fuchsia. Let's see, what do I have a Twitter notification? Oh, okay. Nothing. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Really cool guy, really nice guy. Honestly, did not recognize him at all. And to this day, I feel so dumb for that, because I would have loved to just talk. Honestly, like, I probably just wouldn't have left that tent for as long as he was free to talk. And considering he was also just kind of milling about, because there were people in that tent looking at stuff, but not very many really looking at the booth he was manning. At least I think. I'm not really sure if he was manning a booth. By the way, he obviously wasn't working on Fuchsia at the time. Yeah, I really don't know if he was manning the booth, or maybe he was watching over all of the people. Like, he was high enough up that I could easily imagine him being like the guy who's, how do I want to say this? I could easily imagine him being the guy who's working as kind of like the head guy in that tent, or maybe even all the tents. He's high up in the company, just not necessarily, or rather, he's senior enough and relevant enough, because this guy's been free to hop from division to division pretty often. But yeah, super nice guy, into cameras. I wish I could have actually had longer to talk to him. It just, even in general, without knowing who he was, but also knowing who he was, I wish I could have talked to him for like a couple of hours. Anyway, let's see what else. This ramble has really gone off the rails. But let's see, what else was there? Crap, now I'm totally blanking on whatever else there was. But do we have other topics? I'm curious, because it's hot, and if I don't keep talking, I'm gonna really quickly lose steam in this office. It's roasting in here. So yeah, probably not a whole lot longer for stream, just because this is gonna kill me. But if we got more stuff, hit now. Oh, also, I guess I can close most of these tabs, because we don't care about them anymore. Yeah, let's just close all the others except that one, and we'll quickly bounce into the Qualcomm Intel thing, because honestly, this is interesting. I find it novel that these two that are sort of competitors but not are going to probably end up working together in the weirdest of ways. So we're probably looking at, in all honesty, Intel's sort of, how to say this, I think we're looking at Intel kind of becoming the new white label provider for engineering. Oh yeah. Okay, I need to close Slack again, because there's about to be a bunch of messages I don't need to hear the sound on. Anyway, yeah, so Intel and Qualcomm may be working together. Or, sorry, actually, Intel is working. This isn't a rumor. So they've already announced that their first major customer is going to be Qualcomm, which, all things considered, it does make some sense, because Qualcomm is probably looking for US manufacturers, or like actually made in the US kind of situation. Let's see, as it stands, I I guess the only thing that kind of surprises me, though, is that Intel is going to be popping out with a new transistor architecture they're calling RibbonFET. And it feels to me like this might be one of those... okay, let me restart. If you guys have caught this in the past, I have a tendency to say, don't count out Intel yet. This is a company that has massive amounts of R&D, massive amounts of money. Hey, David Lama, how's it going, man? But yeah, they have a ton of R&D and just time invested into everything that they're working on. For a company that has kind of seemingly fallen behind, even though they invest a ton of money in R&D, you gotta figure there's something they're working on in the background. And what I'm seeing of RibbonFET, I mean, I'm not looking into it very deeply, but what strikes me is this is probably one of those things that they've been working on for a really long time that is now getting its chance. Wow, Carson's playing out the feed of stuff. But yeah, to me, this is one of the things Intel's probably been working on, like actually making its transition into the real world. And I suspect there's probably going to be a lot more. Let's see. So, yeah. So I think it's neat. I'm interested in what Qualcomm's going to do with them. The counter to that is, I mean, I'm happy that Google and Samsung are now working together. I think that's interesting. It's also going to be interesting to see, is Qualcomm now going to suddenly be like, hey, we're taking this seriously. We're going to start working with a company that can produce something we can't begin to touch. I'm getting the impression that is going to matter. I could be wrong, but I think we're finally going to see Qualcomm competing for real because they know they have to. We're going to see Google and Samsung kind of coming out of the woodwork as major players. We're finally going to have a real race in Android. Like, Android phones actually have a chance of becoming a big deal in terms of their internals. It's not, and you know, obviously Apple is playing that game, so we're gonna start seeing stuff actually happening. This is good. This is actually great. Anyway, so let's see. Stadia. There are only 5 days standing between you and new games arriving on Stadia Pro, including blah blah blah. So, fun fact. Pretty sure my Stadia Pro subscription will be over. What is it? Tomorrow? I'm checking right now, but like 90% certain it wraps up like right almost immediately. Oh, my mistake. It ends on June 30th. So yeah, I will not be able to get claims on any of these. I'm not feeling too bad. I don't really know anything about any of these. I heard somebody say Grime was not nearly as good as what the trailer made it look like. And I don't know anything about the other four. Literally never heard of, I think, any of them. Are any of them good? I'll leave it for you to answer that one. Let's see, what happened with the Stadia announcement? Marvel's Avengers and Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the official video game. I heard that was very cringeworthy, by the way. Oh yeah, and Take Control is coming. That I've heard very good things about. I never played it, I don't know too much about it, but I have heard it is good. Don't take me to... Don't take me to the wrong page. That's dumb. Yeah, I tried clicking on Control Ultimate Edition and it takes me to a subscription page. This is not what I want. Like, you're leading me to the wrong page in your post. Bad, Stadia team, bad. Yeah. Anyway, so anyone looking for a good thing? I don't want to. I'm gonna be lazy. Yeah, they don't know how to link correctly. I get that, but that's the problem. I don't care that they don't know how to link correctly. They should link correctly. It's sort of like if you hop in a car and start driving, but you never actually learned how. If you hit someone, it doesn't matter that you didn't learn how. That's not an excuse. You need to do it right. You know, go in there and learn how to do it, or, you know, find someone who can. Not to sound like overly hostile, but for real, this is actually the kind of thing that they should not have going wrong. Oh, hey, I did not catch this one. Google will require vaccinations for employees working in offices, delays campus return. Let's see. So Sundar kicked off yesterday's Alphabet earnings call, encouraging everyone to get the vaccine when it's available. And they announced that vaccinations will be required for employees working at offices. So they've started bringing people back to campuses, which is currently voluntary. Some sites even feature outdoor working spaces. And they're going to start requiring proof of vaccination. The policy will expand to other countries in the coming months with exceptions provided, of course. I'm assuming that's just anywhere where it's technically illegal to require it. Which I shared that they're seeing very high vaccination rates for the Google community in areas where vaccinations are widely available. Honestly, is anyone surprised? I mean, we're talking about a bunch of people who believe in science and technology. They work in technology. Half of them work in some sort of science-related field beyond just being technology. And pretty much, I don't know what, 90% of them work in relatively liberal places where people aren't falsely panicky about vaccines. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't things to always consider with a new, I don't want to say minimally tested, but not thoroughly and exhaustively tested. That's how I'm going to phrase it. Not exhaustively tested. But so, you know, I have a suspicion that most Google employees are probably already vaccinated if they're able to. I would actually, now that I think about it, I would genuinely love to know what the vaccination rate is with Google employees, Microsoft employees, Facebook, all the tech companies. I would love to know. Is this a group of people who are like, yeah, we just went down and did it, like, why wouldn't we? Or some of these tech companies kind of rolling the, oh yeah, for sure, we have like a 65% vaccination rate because people are on the move, you know, but low key we still have like 30% that are saying no way in hell. Like, I'm curious, like, which one is it? And I have a feeling it's probably interesting. Yeah, okay. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, I'd love to know that. Carson with all the 9 to 5 stuff. Google developing a Switch to Android app for iOS to copy data and apps from your iPhone. Literally not even a new thing. I know we covered it too. They've had a quote-unquote data restore tool for a long time. Yeah, so this is just a big rewrite, isn't it? Let's see. One interesting change was the addition of Switch to Android. Is that much of the data restore tool's text has been altered to mention that your apps can be copied from your iPhone. Here are a few examples. Yeah, okay. It kind of doesn't matter. Point is, oops, bad swipe. But yeah, it's a conversion tool. We've seen them before. It's good, it's good to have, but meh. Google shrinks in US smartphone market ahead of Pixel 6's reboot, while OnePlus grows over 400%. How would it not? Isn't that a timing situation? The US smartphone market is dominated by names like Apple and Samsung, but others such as Google and OnePlus have been trying to make a meaningful impact in it for years, blah, blah, blah. A report today from Counterpoint Research reveals that OnePlus is the fastest growing smartphone OEM in the United States, with big numbers to show for it. The now sub-brand of Oppo managed to grow its share of the US smartphone market by 428% in the first half of 2021 compared to the year prior. That's far and away the biggest growth of any of the competitors, with Motorola taking second place at 83%. Yeah, well, when you're a small company and you do well, you're going to have massive growth. If you're a big company and you do normally, or even better than normal, your growth isn't going to look that spectacular. It's hard to say how much this growth relates or translates to actual stake in the market, but Counterpoint attributes the Nord 100 and N10 5G and each phone's popularity on networks such as Metro and big reasons for the growth. Okay, someone should edit that, but hey, whatever. Counterpoint's Maurice something explains, OnePlus became the fastest growing OEM in the first half of 2021 as the company grew 428% year over year. With the introduction of the N100 and N10 5G in January, OnePlus quickly gained market share in Metro by T-Mobile and continues to push its premium device presence at T-Mobile with the latest OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro. OnePlus further expanded its presence in Q2 due to LG's exit from the smartphone market, while the N100 has been one of the top-selling smartphones with Metro for years, or for months. Years. I haven't even been holding this water by the part with water in it, and the water's warm. Oh, crap. My pile of bottles just got knocked over. Anyway, towards opposite ends of the spectrum, though, Google is seeing a loss in the market year over year, despite launching 4A, 5G, and Pixel 5 at competitive price points. The lineup apparently shrunk by around 7% compared to the first half of 2020. I'm going to have comments on this in a second because this is missing some important context. Anyway, this data point comes out after Wave 7 research previously found that Pixel's share continued to slip in the month of June 2021, with T-Mobile currently not selling any Pixels on its website, and Verizon only offering the Pixel 5 through online channels. While those numbers certainly are not promising for Google's lineup, they also come after an off year for the Pixel line that saw delayed launches and underpowered devices. For 2021, Google is ramping up to a sort of reboot for the Pixel line, which includes its own chipset, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This, this to me is both right and wrong. I mean, if you take the numbers just completely without context, this makes plenty of sense. Or sorry, it's a straightforward thing. It makes it look like pixels are absolutely drowning and failing. But when I look at this, my first thought is the pixels were all released, or not all, but they were released in basically the worst possible like timing and organization. Basically, like at a point during the pandemic when nobody was buying stuff, they launched some of them at least the Pixel 4a launched against a Samsung phone. I want to say the A32. I don't remember for sure. Anyway, it launched against a phone that as soon as that came out, everyone said, wait, why the hell would we buy a Pixel if we could just get this? And so, Pixels took a beating because of a narrative point. Whereas, yeah, OnePlus launched and did really well, but that was also probably one of the best times in OnePlus history. Now, contrast that with what we know about 2021 and the fact that Google and T-Mobile are teaming up, and T-Mobile's going to be pushing, presumably, Pixels really hard. So, out of the gate, that's going to massively increase Google's market share. If we're already to the point of agreeing that that's going to be an increase, and the fact that Google's launching a new phone that's going to probably do much better than the Pixel 5, which no one was excited by, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's a no-brainer. This out of context, this all sounds like Google is just getting ripped apart. In context, the reality was 2020 just sucked. Like, that's it. 2020 really, really sucked. And there's not much more story to tell than that. So, yeah, I feel like this, I mean, it's not wrong, but it also feels either unaware or misleading. Let's see. David Lama, you're going to have crazy growth if you're giving out your phone. That's not untrue. Let's see. OP has been giving away 5G Nord intents on T-Mobile. Yeah. T-Mobile gives free lines like candy, or fee lines like candy. So most of those people are going to take the free phone too. Yeah. No one can get the Pixel 5 right now. It's basically discontinued. Yes, that's also a good point, though. I doubt that shouldn't have factored into this article. But yeah, if you can't even get the phone, obviously it's not making sales. Look at the Metro website. You can choose out of 2 Samsung phones or the OP Nord N100 to get for free. Yeah. Whereas, I don't know what you would pay what you would have paid at Verizon, but to get a Pixel 4a, wait, no, they were only selling the Pixel 5, right? Yeah, Verizon was only selling the Pixel 5. T-Mobile wasn't selling anything. Yeah, I'm sorry, but no one wanted to get the Pixel 5. It was overpriced for a device that was not appreciably better than a Pixel 4a 5G. Except, of course, for having maybe a bit more reasonable size screen. Ooh, good stretch. Let's see, Austin. I think the A series is in an odd marketplace too. It's too expensive to be a free phone in carriers, but not expensive enough to make discounts appealing. Yeah, that's pretty true. I mean, the thing is, though, that could be said about almost any mid-range phone. They're all going to be a little too expensive to give away for free, and mid-range phones typically don't get good discounts. The thing is, though, mid-range phones usually still perform well. I agree with that. I don't think Google wanted to sell the Pixel 5 that hard. Truthfully, I'm not sure Google is trying that hard to sell any phones, but if all the rumors about the Pixel 6 are true, they're now going to try selling phones. And in a way, that kind of makes sense. If you were giving away a good chunk of your money to Qualcomm and, another chunk of money for design and development and everything else, unless you charge an astronomical price, you're not going to be getting much out of it. Now, with Google having some stake in its chipset situation, I have a feeling they're saving at least some licensing money or something. They're somehow coming out better for it. So the incentive to sell devices is picking up. So, yeah, my hunch is this is sort of a take it out of context sort of situation. I mean, we are talking about phones that came out almost a year ago, and the timing is just very bad for it. So, when the Pixel 6 comes out, and especially if it is getting hardcore great T-Mobile treatment, we'll see. This all could completely flip around, because we know OnePlus is losing some of its carrier affinity. And as such, that also means OnePlus might start picking up and fighting more. Or maybe OnePlus has hit a wall, and their next year, their growth is going to be measured in the single-digit %. All of this is possible. We just don't know. But I have a strong feeling, just based on common sense, we're probably going to see the Pixel phones getting a huge boost in sales this year. Is huge boost in sales going to equate to being relevant in the market? No. Samsung's still going to hold on to that, and iPhone after that. But yeah, I think I think this is just sort of choosing a particular thing that, yes, it's true, but you're kind of conveniently wrapping it up into the least positive version you can create. Oh my god, that fly. Please land on the soft box. I was about to say the hot box, because I swear all I can think about now is how hot it's getting in here. And to that note, I think I need to really consider wrapping it up, because I'm sweating. It hot. So if anyone's got anything quick, drop it into the RambleCast chat room. Otherwise, I think in the next couple of minutes I'll be bouncing out of here. Trying to think if there was anything else. Let's see. As far as for people who watch the game stream, I'm gonna check this, because I've heard conflicting reports about the upcoming weather. So I'm double checking. According to reports, Saturday and Sunday are supposed to be 91 and 90 for the highs, which sucks. Tomorrow is supposed to be 99, and on behalf of everyone in Oregon, I respectfully say, F you. And Friday's going to be 98. I object to both of these. They do not fall into my realm of acceptance. I refuse to acknowledge that these are temperatures that we can consider real. Let's see. So just to show what I'm saying, there's my weathers. Um, let's see. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to take until October to finish. You never know. Okay, so anyway, the reason I bring this up is 91 and 90 are maybes. If it can get down into the 80s, I can usually do game streams pretty consistently, unless like the night before is just roasting hot, or rather doesn't cool off. With temperatures in the 90s, low 90s, it's possible, but it kind of depends on how the day leading up to it goes. And yeah, this is definitely the problem with having started a story-oriented game in the middle of summer. You never know if all of a sudden the heat, the hotness is just going to suddenly hit and be like, holy crap, this isn't possible. Carson, don't understand how Oregon is getting hotter temps than Texas. Are you serious? A random weather in Texas search. Okay, some of our highs are higher. Some of our highs are lower. All of your lows are higher. I'm not sure all of that made sense, but it looks like your highest is today at 97. Our highest is going to be 99. So we're hitting slightly higher highs, and all of your averages are lower. But we also have a couple of like 89s, was it? 88, 89. So we technically are also getting a little lower than your lows. I guess you do have an 88 coming up on Tuesday. By the way, this just... Houston, Texas was the random pick. But isn't that where you're at? Am I mistaken, or... I thought you were in Houston. If I'm mistaken, sorry. But yeah, at least we're getting into the 60s at night. I'll tell you right... Oh, even technically 59. But... at night, no joke, oh my god, that is such a big part of keeping this place cool. I've got most of the windows open because it's roasting in here, and getting all the hot air kind of pumped outside changes everything. It's the only way to be able to survive the following day. But yeah, anyway, so just wanted to say, it's possible there will be game streams this weekend, but it is also possible there won't be. So, no promises. Let's see. What else is there? Oh, as always, I will note, possible photo edit stream. I'm not even going to try to give dates or times. It's just something I will try to do. God, I really need to get that done. I've been putting that off way too long. Carson, we have to wait until 6 or 7 p.m. to do any outdoor stuff. That was like me in Vegas, especially when I had a car that didn't have AC, which seriously, that's bad. Never try to do that. I was dumb for doing that. I think it actually had a legitimate negative effect on my skin. Yeah, in Vegas, I used to wait until at least like sunset before I tried to do anything outside, and typically I would wait, if I could, until like midnight, 2 a.m. territory, because that was like, you needed to kind of wait that long before it cooled off enough that you could go outside and do something like jog around, or like it moving. There were my time in Vegas, I'll tell you, I learned very quickly, because I had to move a few times. I learned moving in Vegas is the worst experience during the day. The smartest thing you can ever do is try to line it all up at night. Absolutely. As soon as, if if you do it any earlier than nighttime, you're an idiot. I mean, I can understand it if you have movers that are gonna like sort of require that timing, but it's so not worth it. If there's anything you have to do personally, just do it at night. Your life is a million times better. And yeah, the humidity in Texas can be a killer. I definitely remember that from visiting Beaumont. The humidity there was thick, though still not as bad as the time I was in Tampa, Florida, in what was it? September, maybe October. Yeah. Let's see. Or wait. No, sorry. I mean, not Tampa. I meant Orlando. Though technically I've been in both. But yeah, Orlando. In it was September, October. I flew in there to go watch a Flair bartending competition. And then after that I was gonna trek down and meet up with a buddy to hang out. Anyway, when I flew in there, I think I took a cab from the airport to my hotel. The cab drops me off at the wrong hotel, which, thank you, cabbie, for not having a clue what you're doing. But yeah, anyway, come to find out I had to walk like it was, I don't know, maybe a half mile to the correct hotel. And just as I start walking, like, the humidity was already thick. Like, just walking through it, you could feel every step you took. It felt like you were walking into a mist. But then, like, halfway into it, it started raining. Oh my god. Walking through Florida rain in what is already incredible humidity, I was just literally dripping water, just drenched in water when I got to the hotel I was headed to. That was rough. It also led to a very odd conversation with one of the other people who was going to be judging the Flair competition, but that was a separate story. Carson, Vegas straight up a desert? It absolutely is. It is dry as a bone. I've had when people visited me in Vegas, I think of one in particular, which it baffles me to this day. This guy now actually lives in Vegas, but he complained that I think he said it was within like 2 hours of landing, he complained that I think his lips were cracking from drying out, and then like an hour or two later he was getting nosebleeds. It hit him that hard going from Oregon to Vegas. And then when all is said and done, he ends up moving down there. I do not understand this. But hey, so goes. Austin, sarcastically, you love the hot rain. For real, hot rain can be kind of awesome in some context. Not always. I'll tell you, I think the greatest things in the world are taking very contrasting temperatures in nature. So like one time I was at a hot spring while it was snowing. Coolest and most comfortable, warmest, whatever, like coolest experience you can have is just being at a hot spring. Like, you're soaking in the water, it's super comfortable, but you also have cold air like hitting your face, that you're pulling it into your lungs, so like temperature stays really nice and neutral and comfortable for your core temperature. but you don't you don't get cold from it. The only time you get cold is when you actually hop out of the water, and then you have to really hurry and dry off. Otherwise, you get cold quick. You have about a 3 to 5 minute buffer from when you hop out of a hot spring to when the cold air is really going to hit you. And if you're not dried off and covered up by then, it sucks. And likewise, if you can have hot rain in somehow a cold environment, like again, if you're maybe like in a river or something, and you know, not necessarily cold, but if you're in a river and it's kind of cool, and then you get kind of hot rain because the actual weather is like a hot front hits, that can also be awesome. Things like this, just saying, they can be neat. Google will close inactive Play Store developer accounts with low app downloads. Hold up. I'm not sure I'm okay with this. This might piss me off a little bit. Okay, thanks, Carson. Okay, last topic. And then we'll close it, or we'll shut it down. But in addition to previewing the safety section, Google today issued the latest set of Play policies. One upcoming change will see Google close inactive Play Store developer accounts after 1 year of dormancy and additional factors. Dormancy includes developers that have never uploaded an app or accessed the Play console in a year. Google won't close developer accounts with the Play Store applications that see over 1,000 installs or in-app purchases in the last 90 days. That still seems crappy. I mean, even setting other things aside, 90 days? Like, what if a particular app is popular and a lot of people bought it, and it's still completely usable? It just doesn't have a ton of new purchases or installs or whatever. Like, people could still be using these apps. I don't see this being an okay solution. This new policy will come into effect on September 1st, 2021. It's born out of Google believing that Play remains a safer ecosystem when developers actively maintain their apps. Yeah, that's fine, but that's what other parts of the Play Store can do. They can check apps are meeting certain standards. Do that. Remove apps when they don't meet standards. Don't remove them just because a developer is defunct but left their apps there for people to be able to use. This feels like an excuse, not a good reason to remove stuff. Developers whose accounts are closed can create new ones in the future, but they won't be able to reactivate old accounts, apps, or data. Elsewhere, Google provided an update on its plan to make opting out of personalized ads more effective. Today, Android's advertising ID... Okay, I'm going to probably come back to this, but... Elsewhere, Google provided an update on its plan to make opting out of personalized ads more effective. Today, the advertising ID is available to apps even if you've opted out of the interest-based advertising for analytics and fraud prevention. Google considers those two use cases essential and will provide an alternative called App Set ID ahead of the upcoming change, which starts on Android 12 later this year, and we'll see the ad ID switch to a string of zeros for privacy-conscious users. This change will come to the other OS versions next year. Yeah, okay. That seems like also an excuse, but whatever. Okay. So, I have one problem with this. One very specific problem with this. Assuming it is still there. I'm double checking. Because if it is, I think that this is kind of not okay. No. Is it? All right. What I'm looking for specifically is, do they still... Yep, they do. Okay. This is what makes it not okay. Forgot to transition earlier, but here we go. So here's the problem I have with it. There's a $25 one-time registration fee that you can pay with blah blah blah. Okay. Here's the thing. You pay for this, get your account, and if you don't use it within a year, they're just going to close it. If you bought an account at any point in history and don't use it, they're going to close it. And it says that they're going to do this. Let's see. They mention dormancy includes developers that have never uploaded an app or accessed the Play console in a year. So arguably, I could understand if maybe if all you have to do is to access the Play console, that's fine. I mean, that kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I also think that this is crappy because this introduces the possibility that you paid for your account, possibly for developer testing purposes. Like, maybe you're a developer, but you don't have to actually publish apps. Ways that this might make sense, just for example, is if you are a let's say you're a contractor, you needed access to be able to upload an app, but you don't have any intentions of distributing it. I've done this actually. Let's see, can I play developer console? Can I show this without something? Yes. Yeah, redesign console, don't care. Okay, and okay, yeah, I can show this stuff. So here's my console. Included in here are, as you can see, let's see. Hold on, I just wanted to... Okay, Austin said unless you log into developer console every year, which, like I said, if it's just logging in, that's maybe not the worst thing, but I still don't think that... I don't think you should be held to making sure that you're logged in 300 or once every 365 days. That seems like a bad policy. Seems like it could affect enterprise-specific apps. Very possibly. Though I tend to think if you're enterprise-specific, you probably have some sort of an update routine that you may be pushing. They say this is... I will get to these latest comments in a second. Okay, let's see. They say this is all to strengthen security. Yeah, I completely disagree with that notion. I don't think it's about strengthening security at all. I have a feeling it's actually... This is the kind of carrot and stick. Like, you want developers updating regularly, so your stick to make sure they do is that they like your stick is saying, well, if you don't do it, we're going to take away your developer account. That's what they're effectively saying here. Not really ideal. David Llama, big storm coming your way. That sucks. Dude, good luck. Yeah. Storm, it seems like this year is the second year in a row of crazy bad weather. Let's see. Curvy Mermaid got Dairy Queen and set up a router. That actually sounds like a fairly decent day. Let's see. Carson, removed by Google. Yes. So yeah, that app was renamed for a reason. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, I know why. I mean, you can look at that package name. This was obviously not intended for regular distribution. Yeah, so the thing is, I needed it to be a public app for testing reasons. But yeah, it was a bit of a hack, for a reason. And anyway, it didn't, let's see, if I remember correctly, I'd have to look, but if I remember correctly, the only reason why that app got taken down is because, I think I never set a privacy policy on it. The app itself was actually published, but I never set a privacy policy on it, and eventually it got removed for that reason. So, yeah, it doesn't matter. I was okay with that. It was long out of use by the time they ever noticed it or cared. Yeah, let's see. Copycat and Clipwise are actually both the same app, but they were different starting versions of this. I don't think I ever even uploaded an APK for either of those. I could be wrong. And David Llama, is that the AP app? This was going to be. I was developing the official APK Mirror app for a few months, and I never got paid for literally any of it. I didn't get paid a dime for any of that development work, which is why that app never got finished. So, yeah, that was the test version though. It was there. I had, if I remember, I think I authorized like just a few people to have access to it. Actually, I probably should. Oh, does it not have a list of testers anymore? That's weird. There should be release track. This must not have converted over correctly or something. Because I did upload a version for a few people to use. Okay, really quickly, pulling this out so I can check the inbox. Let's see, archive messages. Yeah, I don't see anything here that actually confirms why that app was removed. Okay, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, anyway, so oops. Wait, where are we at? Oh, duh. Clicking back to all apps. Yeah, anyway, so sadly, that never came into existence. But yeah, I was developing that app for a while, but it is not the version that you can download now. Mine works better. though mine was also not for installing necessarily. Mine served a few different features. I was building mine with one at the time. APK Mirror was still pulling apps just from user submissions. So I was building a tool that was basically going to identify, hey, you downloaded an update from the Play Store. It's one we don't have. Would you like to submit it? Like, it would automate that process. It could be used for APK extraction. It was basically like I built a bunch of APK extraction functionality into it. So it was, think of the APK extractors that you may have used so far. Mine did all that stuff, plus actually a few other features. And then I actually was working on, and I this is why I'm actually sad the app never came out, and I almost continued it on my own. There was a feature that I was working on that was going to log the updates as they got installed to your phone, what version numbers, and optionally, like, it was even going to back up old versions of the APK for you locally. So the idea being, if you ever downloaded an update and were like, wow, this update sucks, it's causing real problems, or even if you noticed, hey, my power, like, I'm having real problems with power, and I've noticed that, like, my battery is dying 2 days later, what has updated in the last 2 days that might be causing this? Wow, I'm saying that wrong, but my power is dying by the end of the day, and it's only been doing this for 2 days. What's updated in the last 2 days? Like, my app was going to track all of that stuff, and I had a lot of that stuff built, but once it became clear that I just wasn't going to actually get paid for the work, yeah, I stopped working on it. But I probably should have continued, because I think that would have been a useful feature that, as far as I'm aware, I don't think anyone ever actually did do. I don't know. And I can't remember the name of the one app that might do that, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, it would have been neat, but so it goes. Yep, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Now, and eventually, you know, this was all before split APKs was really going to be a thing. It was, it was back when a few other factors were involved. Not that they had anything to do with what ended up happening, but yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, I don't see him selling APK Mirror. Anyway, so yeah, at this stage, one of the biggest catches is, and you can see it right there, last updated 2016. Yeah, the code base is old. It's actually not, well, I know which computers it's on, but I don't actually know that I have a good backup of it anymore. So it would take me a while to actually update this to be on a reasonably new modern version. That's kind of the biggest issue. It would take a legitimate, like, couple of weeks worth of code just to, like, fix this and get it back to where it was. Maybe not that long, but it would take a while. And then I would have to actually sit down and finish it, which it wasn't a small job. There was a lot of stuff left to do. But I won't deny it is kind of tempting. The only thing is, I just don't think I don't think there's a huge market for that. So how to make money on it is challenging. I'm not sure there is a good way. Just wait till he sees Huawei money. Did Huawei reach out when they were banned by Trump? I believe so. I know somebody did. I don't remember if it was Huawei. I think so. Or maybe Artem reached out to them. I honestly can't quite remember, but I know there was some attempt at communication and nothing ever came of it. But yeah, that was basically about it. It was a thing that actually almost did happen, but it just didn't have there wasn't enough reason to move forward with it. What if I had a team of child slave developers? Why? You offering? Anyway, so yeah, again, the reason I have my developer console open right now is I'm showing exactly the case in point. This is an account that by any of their standards obviously would not have or it would get deleted if I don't make a point of logging in with some frequency. That kind of sucks. Like, I don't think it should be. I don't think that granted, it's been years since I paid that fee, but I still paid that fee to have a registered developer account. If they're going to close it, yeah, sure, it's only $25, but it's also $25. Like, don't take it from me. You know, it's a registered account. It's legitimate. Leave it alone. I don't think it costs them anything to have registered accounts. That's kind of the issue here. Is it's just a damn registered account. Like, leave it alone. It's not hurting security. If anything, like, go ahead and unpublish the apps. But actually deleting the account seems weird. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, anyway, and Austin, what is the... Oh, Austin's showing his own. I see. 2012 and 2013. Yeah, good examples. Yeah, you're it's stuff, and it is worth noting. I just want to throw this in. My account. Let's see. Does it? I can't imagine it does. Nope, there's nothing in the activity. Well, wait. How much time can we put into this activity log? Let's... Okay. Starting with 2011 and later. 1/1/2011. Okay. Oops. Yeah, okay. They don't have a full activity log. Oh, wait. Let's try... Let's try this. Get the full year going on. The reason I'm curious, or rather the reason I'm trying this is, I wonder if it shows you when you open the account. I could be wrong, but I'm about 90-ish% certain that I actually opened my account. Yeah, no, I fixed it. Wait, why did it just delete to 2015? Whatever. Okay, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that I opened my account. Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, they don't show account open date. That's what I was looking for. I could probably find it in Gmail or something, but the reason I'm looking, I could be wrong, but I would have sworn that I actually opened my account back when the Nexus 1 was for sale. Because I was just about to buy it, and I was undecided. And I went to go buy the Nexus 1 for AT&T, and they sold out of it literally an hour, or well, actually it was literally minutes before I went to go buy it, but in the hour before I went to go buy it, that's when it ran out. If I had gotten there an hour earlier, I could have bought one of the last few AT&T Nexus 1s to have ever come out. And if I remember, and this is the thing, I could be mistaken, but I swear I opened the account, or I paid my registration fee for the account, got it opened up, and then I was going to go order the phone later that same day, and that's when it ran out. Oh yeah, you're right. Those other apps are from 2014, so why didn't they show up? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, something's glitchy. They must not have activity logs going back for a lot of stuff. I don't know. No idea. Yeah, anyway. I don't like this. I don't think they should be deleting accounts. Again, go ahead, unpublish apps. Send out an email saying, hey, your app will be unpublished soon if you don't take these steps. But here we are. Google's taking the wrong road on this. Actually, I wonder if, mild curiosity, did I get updated stuff from Google about this? Google Play Developer Program Policy Update. Okay, I did get this. Which, by the way, this is one little thing I'm going to quickly complain about. All of Google's emails come from the same freaking email address. You cannot filter them for anything. So I get Google Play developer emails that my Gmail filters trigger as receipts, because most of the email I get comes from, or most of the Google Play email I get is going to be receipts or advertising, and it all comes from the same address. Guys, please stop this. Like, separate your email addresses somehow, because I can't filter. It is the worst. It is the worst thing that they do. It makes me angry every single time I look at it. Okay, so let's see. Does this mention the 1 year thing? Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, so I got this email. It is from 5 hours ago. So at least they're sending something out, but still. There's no email saying that mine was one of the accounts that could have been hit by this, so they're not trying that hard to inform people. I'm assuming that they probably weren't going to knock out accounts until like the end of the year, or until a year from now, but still. I don't love this. I'm not happy here. Can you create filters based on subject line? Yes, you absolutely can, but not all of their emails, like some of their emails, yes, definitely say Google Play Developer or something like that, but not all of them do. Some of them do actually. Let's see. Man, there's going to be so much crap to dig through if I try searching this. Let's try. There we go. From that email address. Let's see. Would I be showing anything I shouldn't be showing if I open this? Or if I put this up on screen? No, all looks, I think, safe. Okay. So, taking a risk here. Putting the personal email on check. Okay. Transition, and we're in. Let's also close those tabs because I don't need those open. Let's also close these because I don't need these open either. Look at me doing all the cleanups. We get that back in place. All right, now we can look. Okay. So let's see. Order receipts, blah blah blah. All that's fine. Quickly scrolling down. Yeah, okay. Here's one. This is from Google Play about developer policy changes. The subject line literally has no use of the word developer. There's no reference at all. Obviously, you could search for the body text to include something like Google Play developer, but if you search for that, you're also going to pick up a bunch of advertising. I'm not going to try to pull up examples, but I have faith the word developer gets used in a lot of Google Play advertising anyway. But yeah, I mean, you can see in the, you can kind of see in the search field. I'll scroll up and, oh, I can't do that. Never mind. It's slightly cropped at the top of the screen, but that is the correct email address. These are all the emails that come up if you filter by email address. This is awful. Like, there's receipts in here. There's typically advertising. Is there not advertising, or did I just delete all of it? Because I do delete a lot of it when it comes in. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about a ton of stuff here. And not all of it is going to show up correctly if you try to filter by it. And I don't want these things showing up in the same place. Like, to me, a receipt is something I want to store. I want to stick it under my receipts tag and be happy with it. And I will come back and look at it at the end of the year. It's there for tax purposes. That's it. Record keeping, tax purposes, that's all I want those receipts there for. And I'm going to save them for a long time to come. Developer stuff from Developer Console, I need to see that stuff today. Like, give me warning as early as possible. I want big, bold, like, hey, this is the thing you got to pay attention to. I can't do that if it's all coming from the same freaking email address. And again, as demonstrated by that tax thing, that subject line isn't usable. I wonder if you could search by developer update. I wonder if that's in all of them. Okay, it's in this one. Let's see, announcement. Maybe searching for the words developer update might work. It's too bad you can't just create like a dozen. Look for these things if you find more than 3 of them. Filter. Because looking for the Google Play team, developer update, hello Google Play developer, stuff like that. That would kind of work. Maybe search for the word policies. I have a feeling those would trigger something. Yeah. They need to fix this though. This is such the worst possible way to send email. You don't mix your actual like important business related email with receipts. Like, just, hey, you bought something from a store. Yay, we're going to send you an automated receipt. And you should never include it with, like, advertising and other crap like that. But, hey, here we are. Alright, so, that topic went on longer than it probably should have. Oh, with that, I'm getting out of this room. It is roasting. So, thanks to everyone for coming by, hanging out, watching the stream. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Holy crap, this accomplished a ramble until 5 o'clock. Oh, wow, that is some timing. Damn it. An eyelash literally just got stuck in my eye. Okay, wow. Okay, that hurts like hell. Okay, so with that, I'm getting the hell out of here quick because I need to... Oh, wait. It didn't go away, but it wedged itself somewhere where it doesn't hurt, so yay. Okay, anyway, thanks everyone for coming by. Thanks for watching the stream. Thanks for being part of the conversation. I said all that before, but hey, here we are. Special thanks to Austin for throwing a little bit of help towards the channel. Thanks to, as always, Diablo. I leave him out too often, but many thanks to you for the continued subscription. Let's see. Again, this weekend, firm maybe. Yeah, I know. Super helpful, right? But firm maybe. We'll see. Was there anything else? I don't remember. I don't think so. If there is, I have already forgotten it, probably due to the heat. So I hope everyone has an awesome week. I will see you all in the Discord, naturally. And yeah, with that, I hope everyone has an awesome time. Good night, everybody.